Welcome back to Off the Air. I am angry about that. We didn't rehearse that. We did a silent countdown for the can open, but we didn't rehearse the stupid welcome back to Off the Air. That's frustrating to me. But you know, tis life.
So no, why do you sound so different today?
I sound so different and overtalked by you, probably.
Realistically.
Maybe not right now, but in a hot second I will be. Because I'm in Dan's apartment.
He is.
I'm in his recording space, and I'm going to do everything I can to make myself sound better than he sounds in his recording space.
That's fair. See, here's the thing. That is very likely to happen because my microphone is it's pointing in two directions right now. But Noah is facing the direction that is...
The good direction.
The normal direction.
Also, I'm much closer.
You're really not. We're about the same distance from it. I'm actually a little closer. Noah's a dirty liar.
I'm a dirty liar.
No, what are you drinking today?
Today, we're drinking that cider that you like to talk about a lot.
The Down East.
The Down East Unfiltered Winter Blend.
This is their winter blend. It tastes like winter.
I really desperately want to disagree just because on a general principle, it's like, well, Dan, no way it tastes like winter.
No, it
but it does. It does. I can't argue that.
And I quote, it says on the back, as Jackson would say, "Shorter days, freezing cold, that sucks. This cider doesn't. A perfect mix of cinnamon, nutmeg, and toasted oak to keep you warm." The toasted oak is a weird choice. Wouldn't have called that one. Mm-hmm. That's the instructions on the other side because what it's supposed to have. So I mentioned it at one point, but the Down East cans all have a paragraph of text on the back that is upside down because you are supposed to shake them gently, turn them upside down into, I believe, a thing of ice, but upside down into a glass when you drink them. Because apparently that's the best way to... Presumably the shaking gently is to get the
sediment,
the fibers and shit to shake around a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's how you're supposed to drink them. Noah's trying to read them now.
Yeah.
I could just hand you another can so you could just turn it upside down.
Or I could just drink this until it's gone and check it then.
You have to drive. When Noah doesn't show up next week for the podcast, it's because he died.
It's because I died because I'm having one cider and then recording for an hour. Hot dang.
For an hour? Why?
Well, it's the rules. It's the arbitrary time limit I have set on our podcast.
Understandable.
You know, back in the day when this was first a thing, and I wasn't actually sure whether we would always all be around for this. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is the Forbidden Lost episode.
The Forbidden Lost episode is a gift.
It isn't.
Do you still have it somewhere?
Yes.
So that's bonus content at some point.
It's 7 minutes long.
Yeah. A bonus content.
And it's definitely not a bonus content. It's me just talking about what the podcast is, which is woefully out of date at this point. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about music, movies, and video games. We talk about those things, but it's nowhere near the focus of this podcast.
Yeah, because the focus of this podcast is jackassery at absolute best.
Only because I project a little harder.
That's fair. And I talk a little louder. I just don't project it well.
Got that big deep voice going on sometimes.
Well, because I have so much. Well, this is all staying in the podcast. I have so much phlegm all the time, and so I can't really project as well
because
as I need to.
When you start projecting too much, you start going like.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just have to kind of talk louder to compensate, which works.
Correct.
People talk loud
when they want to act smart. I love that so much.
That episode is very good.
I mean, I think it's widely regarded as the best SpongeBob episode.
It's hot. It's way up there. I don't know that it would be my personal best, but it's very, very good.
I don't know. There's a few that stick out in my memory as ooh, that cider caught my throat for a hot second. That didn't feel nice. There's a few that stick out in my memory as, yeah, that's a good episode.
This is a good sponge.
You know, one that sticks out in my mind as a real bad episode, though.
Which one?
So there's this one episode that is in my mind, it is disjointed enough that it could be a fake lost episode. But what ends up happening is SpongeBob and Patrick follow Sandy out on her wilderness adventure weekend. Mm-hmm. And Sandy's like, y'all shouldn't have come on this here wilderness adventure, yeehaw, type of thing. Uh-huh. And they're so busy trying to prove that they can survive Sandy like gives him some like Cliff Bars and is like, all right, sit in that cave. Hope you don't die. Remember, it's eat or be eaten out here.
I do remember this.
And all I remember is the end of that episode. It's Patrick, SpongeBob, maybe Squidward. I don't remember if he was in it or not. But just like giving Sandy this crazy dead-eyed look like, eat or be eaten, Sandy. And then they chase after her and she's just like, oh, I knew I should have left them some granola or something stupid like that. But it's just like...
It's a weird one.
It's really weird. It's really uncomfortable.
Is that
because...
cannibalism?
Yes.
That's far from the worst thing SpongeBob has done.
It is far from the worst thing that SpongeBob has done. However, it does still sit heavily in my mind as a one of those weird fear triggers, kind of like the Jekyll and Hyde song on Arthur. For whatever reason, that was always a fear trigger for me.
Have you seen? I mean, I know you've seen I'm Sorry, John.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the SpongeBob one that like this guy's been doing one like page a week of?
No.
It was like 17, 18 parts now, and it is phenomenal.
Where Patrick opens up like a regular
like
starfish.
A real starfish. Yeah. It's very good. It's very well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten Squidward is jacked. It's great.
I've seen it. And so much of it just makes me think, wow, that's cringe.
Really?
Well, some of it just seems overly edgy. I get that that's like, that is the inherent quality of those subreddits.
Yeah, I think that's like the point. Like, I won't pretend like it's, okay. I won't pretend the story is like phenomenal or anything.
Oh, no.
It's drawn really well, in my opinion. I think it's a really, really neat art style where they take a lot of the like OG SpongeBob stuff and just kind of, because it's in pen.
I would agree.
It's like more modernized and nicer.
Yeah, the only... I lost what I was going to say. Unimportant, I suppose. I don't know. It's some stuff like that. I just like it hits really hard one way or another for me, whether I like it or not.
That's fair. I feel the same way about a lot of the Garfield comics. Noah's looking around the recording space in confusion now for a moment. I feel like he just got lost and like realized he was here again.
Why am I not at home? No, I just wanted to see what you had. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just nosy.
Noah, so what do we got in this recording space? Let's describe it.
Well, I mean, we've got your two monitors, which is really nice. I'm a little jealous of.
I usually have my third one. I usually have the laptop sitting over here in the corner because I use it as a tertiary monitor and also as a stream like monitor.
I respect it.
So we got that.
You got a printer, which I'm jealous about. I would love to have a printer.
You could just buy a printer.
I can just buy a printer. However, I also want to buy a printer with a good scanner on it, like an actual nice scanner.
That has a scanner.
Is it a nice scanner or is it an okay scanner?
It's a good scanner. It's not like I know why you want a nice scanner.
Exactly.
But I think this would be more than fine because I think
most likely
for most cases in that for art, which is what you want it for.
Yes.
Like at least the people that I know that work out of it that I've like talked about it, they scan it in and then just pen it over digitally anyway. It's rare that they just leave it. It depends on what they're doing.
Not what she tends to do.
Fair enough. I would not have expected that.
I only know that because we've had conversations about it, and that's the style she's trying to move forward.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Realistically, though, she's doing that with her cell phone right now, so this is already a step.
That's fair. That's fair. It is a $40 printer scanner, I think. Something like that. 50 maybe. It's old.
Honestly, the main issue is I just don't have anywhere to put a printer scanner right now.
You can like figure your life out.
I just need to buy a desk. Because the desk I'm using right now, I think I was talking to Shell a second ago about it. It's just a bad desk.
This desk was at IKEA, and it was nice because it had all three of them. So I'm using this like black IKEA desk. And the nice thing is that so mine is curved, and then that one actually matches up with it, and it's in 3 different lengths. So you can get like one that's like this long.
Yeah.
And then
this long, really?
it's like 5 feet. It's like 5 feet. 3.5 no 4 5 feet 4 feet 5.5 feet 4 feet and then this curved one. And what's nice is you can like chain them in whatever configuration.
Because as all IKEA furniture, it is modular.
Exactly, and it's super nice because as you can see, like these link together pretty well, not seamlessly but pretty well. And then Michelle's is behind me matches up well enough that we just have a mini fridge in between it.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm happy with my setup now. I
like it a lot.
I want to get a new mic stand because my mic stand is janky and
no, it's a jank.
It was like $5, but it works.
Your old roommate Parker and I were talking about your mic stand. In fact, earlier today,
jank and that it used to fall apart.
Yeah, he's like that boy manhandled that mic stand.
You're not wrong.
And beat it until it worked for him, is what he said. Which,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It's hurtful. Dave just got a Yeti Pro as an upgrade.
Nice.
I'm very jealous because mine is just a Yeti, and if I had a Pro, I could actually invest then in a like
interface
and a mixer and all that. And I really want it.
They're so nice.
I think that won't happen in this place. I think that won't be till a new apartment because I think when I do that, in my new place, I'm gonna try and give myself an entire corner. So 1, 2, 3, and the curve that goes up against the corner, and then I'll 4 or 5 foot on either side. Because that way I just have all the extra room that I could possibly need. Because the problem that I constantly run into is that I just use up the space. And my desk isn't exactly cluttered. It's not clean right now. That needs to get put away.
Oh, that hurts.
What?
This is so clean for me.
Oh, yikes. No.
But I mean, I am currently operating off of a coffee table in the middle of my living room.
The worst.
It is. My computer and everything is sitting on the coffee table. I sit on the couch and I use my mouse on the arm of the couch and the keyboard sits on my lap.
That's the worst.
It is the main reason I'm not streaming right now, because it's really not convenient to game effectively on. Which means it's great for when I'm doing things like Dragon Age.
Did I talk about on the podcast that I got the Steam Link working on my new TV or on my?
You did not, because the first I heard about it was last night when I showed up for Gritmas, which is why I'm in Philly.
Yeah, are we gonna talk about Gritmas?
I mean,
we should.
Yeah, let's talk about Gritmas real quick.
Well, how do you think Gritmas went? Talk to me about Gritmas. What did you? Because you came in near the end of it.
I came in near the end, and I missed last year's Gritmas, so obviously I am the most qualified to talk about Gritmas compared to years past.
I would argue this year. Okay, so Gritmas was born out of a desire for my college friends and I to do Friendsgiving and get absolutely sloshed, which I feel like nobody really got sloshed.
This year, no.
And that made me sad, because we have so much booze left in the house, and there's just so much.
There's a lot.
You can take the Captain Morgan, what's left of it, it's all you.
Okay. I didn't bring it, but I'll take it.
You can take it. It's been in my fridge for a while.
Rude, but okay.
Listen, take it. Anyway, so it was born out of a desire for my friends to come over and get absolutely sloshed, and that was when I was living in Philly, and I was one of the only people who had their own apartment. It turns out, a year later, I'm still one of the only people out of my college friend group that has their own apartment, and so they came out to where I live, in the burbs outside of Philly, to continue a tradition of hang out, play games, get sloshed. The first year, we just ordered a metric butt ton of wings and pizza, which was
expensive,
good.
But a good time.
It was a good time. It worked really well for what we were doing. This year, we turned it into a proper Friendsgiving and was like, hey, everybody bring...
I was going to say, your friend brought a freaking turkey.
One of my friends brought a freaking turkey. Sam was here. She's in the chat. She'll say hi. Let's see, I'm trying to think.
And if she doesn't, then we know she really hates us.
I mean, that she does really hate me, but it's okay. She's probably going to listen to this episode. I bet you right now she's listening to this episode on her way to or from work or sitting at work and really bored. And that's a call-out. That's such a fucking call-out, and she's going to feel really weird about it.
That's just most people.
No, because I know that hers is like... She and I've talked about it a lot, that she listens to us specifically on the way into work whenever we have an episode out.
I mean, valid. Every now and then I think about back when I had my longer drives to work, and I burned a podcast episode between the to and from. It was just long enough to get your average podcast episode done. And then I caught up on most all of my podcasts.
And now
I had probably a grand total of 200 episode backlog across the 3 that I regularly listen to. And then I caught up and I'm like, man, it makes me feel like I should release more content on my podcast because blah, 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 because I hate waiting. And then I just think about the fact that means I have to edit twice as much content. And granted, when I'm not in the band anymore, probably not going to be that bad.
It will be, because we'll have other things that are taking up
I will have other things taking up my time, but I'm not going to have a Wednesday night 4-hour time chunk that takes up my time anymore.
That's fair.
I'm so excited for that. I'm going to miss the band a lot. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to miss playing with these guys so much.
I think it would be more concerning if you didn't miss the band.
I would agree. But boy, oh boy, I'm not going to miss that drive.
I get that. No, I mean, and I've had other commitments throughout the years that I definitely get that of it's gonna be really great when it's over and I have that free time back, but also you're gonna really regret not having that time anymore.
Really, really hard detour. I just got distracted by your giant mouse pad, and I just got to say it's a sexy mouse pad. You talked about that on the last episode. Question mark?
So.
Yep, maybe the episode before.
I think it was just before we started recording. I don't think it was actually during the episode.
Well, you talked about it during a time I associated with recording.
That's fair. So yeah, I just got.
It's a nice mouse pad. I really like.
What do you think? 3?
It's an easy 3.5 feet long.
I'm gonna say 3 feet because this I think is 5. So this would be. I think
this is not 5 feet long.
4.5. That's not a foot.
It's 10 inches roundabout.
So what? 50.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this thing a solid like
four and change.
3.5 to 4.
It's longer than 3.5. Well, this is not 3.5. This is like 2.5. Then is my point. It's like a 2. Whatever. It's a big enough mouse pad that it goes underneath my keyboard and underneath
With a 1.5 on the other side.
That's a foot. That's not a foot and a half.
It's not a foot.
It's like a foot and 3 inches. I'll show you a foot and 3 inches.
It's like a 1.5.
It's like a foot and 3 inches.
My hand span is about 10 inches. It is about a 1.5 feet.
Noah, let it be known, doesn't understand how long things are.
I mean, I know that you're probably trying to make a different joke.
Mm-hmm.
However, at work, very funny thing, I thought an inch, I'm going to hold up my hand as if it matters. I thought this was about an inch, which has turned out this is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Luckily, my combs have markers for inches on them.
Nice.
Isn't it though?
That's super
It's an old hair cutting trick. However, funny story.
Oh no, hair
People that have these combs will occasionally use them to measure hair. When people are like, yeah, I want about like 4 inches left on my hair, you measure it up real quick and you hold it up and you're like, that means I'm cutting off this much. Is that okay? Because, everyone measures their inches differently.
Yes.
A friend of mine worked at a salon in a mall. So, I mean, there's your first thing. Like, if you work at a salon in a mall, firstly,
why?
Get your money. No. Get your money because chain salons will pay you well and they will give you continuing education stuff.
That's cool.
It's a great deal.
Okay.
Your private salons and barbershops don't do that as much because they're not...
They're privatized.
Exactly. You don't have a corporate entity feeding money into training.
Yeah.
However... You also get the worst kind of people there, like my friend's old manager, who worked at this salon, and he was just like, the person said, I want you to take off about 1 inch, which in salon talk means clean up the ends, take a little bit of length off, make sure it doesn't look too short.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy pulls out his comb, and he shows this lady 1 inch on the comb, and he's like, well... Most people, when they say 1 inch, mean a little longer than this, holding the comb up. And he's like, do you mean about this kind of length off? And then he launched into this pretentious talk about how he always wants to make sure he does the best haircut possible, yada, 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 yada. And then he gave her a really bad haircut.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. Flawless.
You know how I heard about this?
Mm-hmm.
It's a Yelp review. It is a knockdown, drag him in the mud Yelp review.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I like all these details came from the Yelp review.
All these details came from the Yelp review. This person remembered enough of, I think his name was I don't know why I would just like drag his name into this like that in hindsight.
I think his name was
Redacted. But the fact that like Redacted dragged out this whole thing long enough that she remembered it and she's just like, wow, I really don't like Redacted. I'm going to make sure I say everything he said in this Yelp review to tell people why I don't like him.
So good.
Every now and then I say statements like, this is the amount of petty I aspire to be. But really, this is the amount of petty I aspire to be. When people really... Well, here's the thing. I only want to be that kind of petty when people are really just being... Like, when people really do be like that. That's when I want to be that kind of petty.
So much work.
It is so much work, which is why I tend to not do it.
I'm a very, lazy person in that regard. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Bad service, I'm just not gonna I don't care. I'm just not gonna go back.
Like bad service, I'm not gonna go back, and I'm probably gonna tell someone about it, but I'm not gonna go to the trouble of Yelping it either.
It's 2019. Who Yelps? A lot of people. I know.
A lot of people. So many people Yelp.
Thing that most people do.
I wasn't about to call you out on that one like I did earlier when you were clearly being facetious about something, and I'm like, push up glasses. Well, actually, Dan. You can't just hand out any old cheesesteak to someone who's making an order. That is how you get a bad Yelp review.
So Grimace. So Grimace was last.
Oh yeah, we never finished. We never even started talking about Grimace.
So we had 13 people in my tiny ass apartment.
Yeah, and you know what? Did not feel that cramped.
No, did not feel cramped at all.
It was very nicely laid out with enough chairs. That's a biggie.
You were right on the edge.
You were like 3 chairs short. But at that point of the night,
most people were sitting on the floor anyway.
Exactly, because
They're a bunch of floor babies.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Literal direct call out to my sister.
Yeah, no.
You floor baby.
Dave too. Dave is also a floor. Emma, actually. Emma was a floor baby for a little while.
Everyone was a floor baby. I got to meet Emma, which was super cool.
That's true. You did get to meet Emma.
I didn't get to talk to Emma too much because I feel like that's just how parties go. You never end up actually talking to the people that you want to talk to.
It always
but
be like that.
That's okay. There's always next time.
Yes, and there will be a next time.
Exactly. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, we got people from all over. So Noah came down from Erie, Sam came down from Erie, Edge came down from Erie.
Yep.
Broad strokes. Emma came up from. Have we said where Emma's from?
We're not gonna say.
Emma came in from out of state.
I think we did say in the past,
but
and that you were like, "Oh, I can't believe we're doxing Emma," and Emma was just like, "Yeah, in this big whole area I live in, man, can't believe you doxed me." But I don't remember exactly, so I'm not going to specify.
And then everyone else came in from all over, like the greater Philadelphia area. And I was surprised also at how well, I was really worried about how well everyone was going to meld because it really was throwing like three completely different, like...
Yeah, I feel that. Like, honestly, everyone was super chill though.
Yeah, everyone was super chill. Everyone had a good time as far as I can tell. We put out sleeping bags. There was so much people sleeping here.
So many.
2, 4, 6...
So we had one person sleeping on the kitchen floor.
10,
we had...
10 people slept here, not including Michelle and I.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of them left at like 5 a.m, so that was fine. But everyone else stayed at like through the morning and we got Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. 10 people in my it's a 2-bedroom apartment, but like this second bedroom is the office. So
that's where we are right now.
That's where we are right now.
Spoilers. Peek behind the curtain.
You mean besides the fact that we described the room and the desk?
There's a piano sitting next to me while a keyboard.
There's a shitload of camera equipment.
See, I would have said a keyboard sitting next to me, but it's like, no shit, Noah. Dan's a gamer. He has keyboards. And it's like, no, it's a piano keyboard.
I have so many keyboards. You want me to go whip out some keyboards?
You gonna whip out this MIDI keyboard and plug it in and learn to play Doom on it?
I do have it. I do have a MIDI connector for it.
To play Doom?
I could. If I want. I mean, I could do that. I'm not going to, but I could do that, yes.
Nice. You know, when I first got Doom...
Which one?
The first Doom. OG Doom. OG Doom.
My favorite game.
I did not have my controls set up properly, so my mouse was not my look.
Yeah, because early Doom, the mouse wasn't your look. The mouse was the movement. It was your forward, backward, left, right, I believe. And then you had different keys.
Something like that. And, and I didn't know that. So, like, I'm going around and I realize there is no up and down in Doom.
Nope.
You shoot in the direction of the person, it will hit them every time. Because even though they might be up here and I'm shooting at the floor...
Well, do you know what that is?
It still shot them. Probably because they didn't have the ability to render that kind of 3D space.
So here's the neat thing about Doom. Doom actually only exists on a flat plane. Everything about it is flat. There's actually no point where things go under or over another between levels. You can have tunnels, air quotes, but it's really just one flat space. What actually happens is that the rest of the level, as far as I can tell, moves to like accommodate you, which is why when you shoot straight forward, your thing will go wherever the heck it needs to, because it's really just shooting straight forward. Original Doom.
I was gonna say, I know Doom 2 has levels,
Doom 2?
And that was their big thing. Was they have so many levels in the so many layers in the first level.
Here's the thing: the first level. If you think back to the first level, the first level of Doom 2, the moon base. It's the one where you start and then you go down and punch the guys in the back of the head or whatever, or shoot them in the back of the head right out of the gate. Even then, if you think about it, it has up and down verticality, but there's no point where things cross each other. The paths don't cross because they can't.
There are literal spots that I'm thinking of that the paths cross. I might be thinking of Quake.
You might be thinking of Quake, because Doom does not cross the streams. That's that was like the big restriction of the old Doom engine, was that you couldn't cross paths over each other because the game just didn't. It's why when you did like no clipping in the game, you would just like go way up into the ceiling or way down into the floor anytime you walked through a wall, because there is no map for you to clip to. Exactly.
Because it just moved. Wow, I can't believe you just slammed your face into the desk like that.
Well, I had to hear you talk more, so I just need to... All right, I'm good now.
Side note, unrelated but related earlier, this cider, very good. Not as cidery as many hard ciders I've had. It's much yeastier, but I'm not opposed.
The regular cider for it is... very cidery for me. The other one that people liked a lot was my personal favorite. They have 3 regular blends. They have this one, which we're drinking right now, the winter blend. The winter blend is seasonal. They have 3 regular ones. They have the original, they have the double, and they have I think it's called white. Might be called citrus.
Mhm.
But-
And the double is what you said you were going to give me to take home, right?
And the double is literally double the alcohol content.
Oh.
Which is why I didn't give it to you right away.
Appreciate that.
But these aren't. I think what's the percentage on these? It's not much.
I'm going to guess 8.
I don't even think it's 8. I think it's 6.
6.5.
Yeah,
That's close.
I think the other ones are maybe not double it. Maybe it's closer to like 10, but still more.
It's very tart, and I like
It's
that.
very tart. And actually, what's nice is that, and I don't know if you noticed it, there is like it's because it's unfiltered, so it has a little fibers and shit.
And I do like that
real
too.
Cider, because to me that's like the big thing about like store bought cider that you don't really get the little like fibery bits. But yeah, no, huge fan of this. Doom. Okay, no, Grimace. People were here for Grimace. As far as I can tell, everyone had a blast. We played a ton of Quiplash. We played a ton of Jackbox. Everyone left throughout the day. It was a lot of driving around today.
Yeah, we drove around. We went to the, I don't know how to say, Mutter?
I've been saying, everyone I've heard says Mutter.
I don't think it's
I don't
Mutter.
think it is either, but that's how people were saying it earlier.
I mean, it's spelled like the one Rammstein song, and he sings Mutter.
So sure,
But I don't really know. M umlaut T-T-E-R.
yeah. So
It's a dead people museum. It's a lot of skulls. It's a lot of bones. It's a lot of diseases.
the diseases are cool.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was neat.
I was telling Sam earlier that while it is not an aesthetic thing, although I know for you, Edge, to a lesser extent, Sam, it was very much an aesthetic thing.
Yeah.
For me, I found it a lot less cool and a lot more fascinating, if that makes sense.
I'll accept both.
Like, I think there's an aspect of it being like really cool, and I think you guys found it really cool, like just objectively cool. Whereas I found it interesting, but not like I didn't necessarily walk out of there being like, man, I wish I had like merch and shit from there.
Which I do have merch and shit from there.
You do. You gonna post it on the Insta?
No.
Coward.
Well, I mean, they're not all for me.
Oh, okay. So post some of it,
Some of it is gifts.
but at least one of it is not.
You mean, what was it? Spit causes death?
That, and I thought the poster was yours.
Oh, the poster's mine too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got a cool Plague Doctor poster and a pin.
That poster's dope. I like that poster a lot.
It's a good poster. And this pin that says spit causes death.
Mhm.
Because during the influenza outbreak of, what was it, 1918? 1917? Somewhere between 17
Sure,
and 19.
you're there.
Anyway, though, giant
Philadelphia
influenza
influenza,
outbreak
yeah.
in Philly.
Like really, like
Like 20,000 people
sobering.
died.
Like sobering.
Yeah.
That was like I leaned over to Dave because I'm a disrespectful fuck. I was like, hey, wait a second, I've seen this before. I've played Plague Inc. And that's literally what it like genuinely to me like reminded me of is like that.
Yeah. Oh man, the fact that
Crowded.
it started because they were like, well, there's a public health risk, but gotta sell those bonds, am I right? So they held a big old parade and they're like, here, buy these bonds. And it's just like,
And it spread like the fucking plague.
yeah.
It was spooky. It was definitely that part actually was more sobering, I think, than the like dead bodies everywhere.
But to go back to the spit causes death
Yes,
thing,
Sorry.
people were saying that the flu could be spread by people spitting and the dried up spit turning to dust and you inhaling it. Not true, but it was this big slogan that like you could get fined $2.50 for spitting, which was like a day's wage for a lower income person.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you were caught spitting, that would happen. And while it didn't slow down the outbreak, it got a lot of public goodwill toward the city because it showed they were really trying.
Yeah, they were doing
It may not have been working, but they were trying so hard.
Yeah, no, that one that was really cool, and like the like little things in that like in that like area of the exhibits was really cool. Like as you walk through, you hear like coughing and in like from hidden speakers, which was really
Yeah,
cool.
there was a hidden speaker right under the subway chair.
Mm-hmm. And like there was a faint I feel like there was a faint subway rumble there too.
Yeah.
That like and so like subway rumble, okay, I didn't really like notice this first, but you hear the coughing really clearly, and like then fucking Dave turns around and actually coughs into his sleeve, and I turn and like just stare at him like, the fuck, my dude? Like you didn't pay attention at all.
Yeah, the whole thing just being there like, hey, your subway cars are dirty. By the way, just pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Very cool. They're very, very cool exhibit. The skulls were really cool. There was an entire wall of skulls. That was
The Adopt a Skull program?
that what it was?
Yeah.
I didn't read
There was
that
only
part.
one skull that wasn't adopted. It was this ugly little cute boy. I loved him. And I
Aw.
would have taken a picture if it were not a no photography zone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you could adopt a skull and you pay to help make sure it like maintain it, get it
That's
cleaned,
super cool.
and keep it preserved.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. I did not realize that's what it was.
Yeah.
The skulls were really neat. The skulls were like from like hundreds of years apart.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. They were
There's
from
one like ancient Egypt.
I was going to say, we're talking like thousands of years time span of where these skulls came from.
Very cool. Very cool.
Like the one that was, it was an unclaimed one. It was an unnamed Turkish guy. No freaking teeth in his head, no lower jaw. It was just the top of the skull. Looked rough. All the skulls from Egypt, I don't know if you noticed, looked burned.
I did kind of notice that. I had assumed that was like
part of the mummification process that they would use.
Or an aging thing, one or the other.
I don't know if it's an aging thing because a lot of the other bones were also very old.
But I was assuming that the whiteness of those was directly related to how long it was before somebody started preserving them, if that makes sense. Like if those fucking mummy bones have been sitting for a while, or if those Egyptian bones have been sitting for a while, maybe they started like discoloration early. I hadn't considered the mummification process at first, and that's a much more interesting idea.
I feel like it's one of those things because not everyone could afford to be mummified.
Of course.
However, the mummification process, I would because of how. Because theirs involved just packing your body in salt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all they did. They just drew every bit of moisture out of you by packing you in salt for a few months.
Mm.
I wouldn't be surprised if that discolors your bones by drawing all that stuff out through it.
That tracks. Sure. I'm no doctor.
Neither am I.
We have
some doctor, please fact check me. Don't, because I want to be right. But if I'm really wrong, let me know.
Those were cool. The speaking of mummies, there was a woman in there that was like not mummified, but
yeah, soap lady.
Soap lady. That was weird. That was super weird.
Yeah.
God,
I don't remember the name of the actual thing that happened, but
it's essentially like a chemical.
I was gonna say it was a chemical reaction that basically turned her waxy.
Mm-hmm. Which is gross.
There was hair left on her.
Yeah, and her mouth was like way open, like a fucking ghoul, like a ghoul.
Oh, it was
like,
so
very. Cool.
I don't know. There was so much about that place that I liked, and then at the end of it, while Dan and I were waiting for everyone to wrap up, we went out into this garden of like poison and healing plants.
Yeah, very cool. Like very much like a like what you would imagine like a witch's garden to look like, or something. An herbalist from like the olden
I
times.
just wish that it wasn't December, because if it was like a good time of year, we could have gone and seen this garden in bloom instead of like chopped down, which is where it was.
Yeah, and like a little dead because winter.
There's all these herbs, and they're marked with like what they do for you.
And then some of them, and then like on the board specifically, it's like a bunch of these are toxic to humans. Please do not eat or touch anything in this garden.
Yeah, see, I liked how one of the plants specifically said stops heavy bleeding, but then everything else just listed the symptoms they helped. So it's like, well, this one says it stops this, but then this one just says fevers. And it's like, well, what is the truth here? Poison garden
cause their problems unless it specifically said otherwise.
That's what I like to think. Dan tried to say, no, this says wounds. There's no way that this plant causes wounds. I'm like, then touch it.
Do it, you coward. That was cool.
Yeah.
The basement was full of the amount of like pickled body parts in that building was weird.
Yeah.
Like not weird, not like necessarily.
Because there was like the section of like wax body parts to show certain diseases,
and that was fine. That was like kind of.
And then there was a section of tattooed skin that had been taken, stretched over like some sort of thing, and then placed in formaldehyde. And that was neat.
That was neat. Very spooky. Like very.
Just looking around, it does not register that all of these things used to be real people. Mm-hmm. Everything in there,
associative, yeah.
Like it's so easy to just be like, "Oh man, look at that 7.5 foot tall skeleton man."
Mm-hmm. And then you're like, "Wait a second,
that had to have been a person,
that was
though."
A dude, yeah.
He had huge feet.
All the broken, like the broken and rehealed bones were really cool.
Yeah.
Seeing the way that like what happens when a broken bone doesn't heal properly.
Yes,
was very cool.
The cyst bones were like a 1.5 foot across, like big bubbled out things. Mm-hmm. Not a fan.
No,
that's
the ones that
you know.
Besides the kids, and I don't want to talk about the kids because the kids freaked me out. That's the only one that I was like very much did not want. There were a bunch of kids.
I was gonna say there's like a whole wing of dead kids.
Yeah, well, wing is a whole display of dead kids. It was like an
entire... I believe that wing was dedicated to the longest running operator.
Sure.
Of that museum from 1947 till 2004.
Jesus.
She devoted her entire career and research to this museum.
It's very cool. But yeah, entire display of dead kids, and didn't love that one. But the decaying body parts were really freaky.
There were like 3 or 4 different gangrenous foots in jars,
and those were rough. Not those were gross. Like those were the ones that I was like, ew, but also very cool. Like those ones were actually kind of cool. Yeah, just a cool place to go.
Yeah,
and we went because they were doing a event that was I think Edge was very disappointed by. I'll be honest.
Oh, she was disappointed by parts of it. So what it was it was kind of like an art fair.
It kind of like an art fair with the idea of like a Christmassy like what you would expect like a Christmas
it's like
fundraiser.
I was gonna say it's like a Christmas fun. It's like a Christmas meet Santa for goths and Wiccans.
Yeah, so many goths.
I don't know why you're surprised.
I'm not surprised. Just I haven't seen that many in a congregation like that in a long time. Not in one place.
Fair enough. I was about to say I have, but then I remembered. Oh yeah, we just travel in very different circles.
You and I are so different in that regard.
But yeah, no, because the attraction idea of it was that you could go and get a photo op with Dr. Mutter, and plague doctor looking dude. The thing is, it was great value plague doctor costume.
Yeah.
Which Edge and I were talking about it on the way back here. She would have been fine with the slacks and the button up.
Yeah.
If they had just covered his neck.
Yeah.
She could have even given the soft plastic mask a pass if they had just
the fact that his neck was
covered his neck.
That kind of did ruin the whole thing because that's literally the point. Like that's literally the whole thing.
Yeah, it's because everyone likes to write plague doctors off as the quacks of the medieval age.
They're objectively not.
See, I never realized that until I actually looked into them a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, so their clothes were oil dipped and covered in wax to make them as
the reason that they're
airtight as possible
is because they had herbs and shit all stuffed in there so they could still breathe.
And because everyone likes to throw it off as, oh yeah, they just tried to make the air smell good and keep the bad humors out. And it's like, well, yeah, but they also knew these herbs were healing herbs and they were trying to heal the air that they breathed.
Yeah, because
primitive filtering. Their logic, and they drenched their stuff in vinegar to clean it. Everything they did makes sense.
It was just all for the wrong reasons.
Well, that's not even. Half the time they had big, heavy rubber gloves. They were as airtight of a almost borderline hazmat suit outfits.
They were medieval hazmat suits.
And learning stuff like that, I'm still gonna laugh at the whole you got ghosts in your blood, you should do cocaine about it. Even though I know those are drastically different eras of Doctor.
Very funny.
But that's the attitude I ascribe to Plague Doctor.
No, that's super fair. I think it's super fair.
But knowing that they actually gave a shit about how their uniform was purposeful and it was intentional. Everything about it was and
it was also
to keep them healthy. The fact that this guy couldn't even be bothered to cover his neck was just frustrating.
It was a little frustrating. I'll give you that.
If he had a pimpin' Dr. Kane, I would have even given him more of a pass. But he didn't have that either.
Also, he wouldn't have had a pimpin' Dr. Kane. They specifically said that wasn't the thing at the time. Was what I was reading.
Well, that's cool. I didn't read that part.
Okay.
But I believe that is accurate and I just missed it.
The Dr. Kanes that I saw that they had on display were these were given to from one doctor to another down a line. Really cool.
Kind of like ceremonial swords and stuff like that.
Exactly. Your most fondest student, essentially. Which was very cool.
Can we just highlight plague doctors versus Civil War doctors real quick?
Sure.
Plague doctors, what I just said, they tried. Civil War doctors are the more blood that's on my apron, the cooler I am. It means I'm doing my job. Because I'm a doctor. Yes, all sawbones, they call me, because I saw through their bones. Literally, these guys thought the bloodier they were, the cooler they were. They were the obnoxiously straight gym bro doctors that were elbow deep in blood and then jumped right to the next person, shoved them hands all up in them guts to pull bullets out, covered in the last guy's blood.
Yeah.
That's why so many people died.
Yeah.
Let's look at I would love to see the mortality rate of Black Death doctors, which objectively sucks for them because
there's nothing they could do.
There was nothing they could do. It was fleas and people were dirty, and there wasn't anything they could do to stop that. Versus, yeah, we should be better, but we don't care.
Listen, they got people to save. I think, sure.
They didn't even dunk their arms in water to like rinse off the outside blood. It's just like, guys.
Now it's more blood per blood. Listen, it's blood. It just belongs in your body. It can't be that bad. It's someone else's blood. It's your blood. It's fine. It's fine.
It's extra blood getting back in you. You should be grateful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I buy that. Doctoring, I mean, I don't know nearly enough about it to like really talk on it as an authority, which is why I'm going to continue talking about it, because that is this podcast.
Yes, I like to speak with authority on subjects I know nothing about. The podcast.
The podcast. That's actually our new tagline. Thank you for showing up. Noah's smiling at me because he's about to go change the tagline right now.
I am.
So yeah, no, I mean, doctoring throughout the ages is really fascinating to me, and the fact that certain doctors, like certain doctoring techniques, lasted and some didn't, and like there's a part of the thing that was about like doctoring and like holistic. Is that the right word?
Holistic medicine?
Yeah.
Like non-drug stuff?
Yeah, which is really interesting. And like some people believe that like, oh, depending on your astrological sign it was different what things you could do. And apparently the only one that actually what was it? Taurus.
Yeah, it was to survive the Black Death. It was just like your sign and how it lined up to how they would have read your humors and what they would have prescribed for it. And Taurus was just like, go to the barber and have him drain the pus from your like
boils or whatever.
Boils. And you would have survived because that man would have actually... Everyone else is like, eat mint with lamb to warm up your cold humors. And it's like, well, no way you died. That's the kind of quack medicine that people deserve to be made fun of
I don't know how this man died. He had the lamb, he had the... you know what? It was old mint. That's what it was. Didn't have fresh mint. Gotta be fresh mint.
Honestly, people said that, 100%. Though. That lamb wasn't fresh enough. That mint wasn't fresh enough. That mint... was not old enough. The lamb was not aged enough. He opened this north-facing window to cool off his humors, but I mean, it clearly didn't open it good enough.
It was actually, it was only north from his perspective. Turns out it was actually south.
So much stuff like that. Absolutely freaking wild.
The amount of excuses that are made for bad medicine in these eras is very fascinating to me, too.
It's as if... I feel like it's one of those things where if I were to make a fantasy setting, I don't think I could make up a bad enough excuse-making doctor that even comes close to fulfilling what some people have said in real life.
Yeah, well, it turns out it's one of those things that, like, we look back at it now and we're like, there's no way someone would believe that, but, like, when they're the only person... Like, if and this is, like, veering wildly into, like, borderline anti-vaxxer territory, so, like, stop me if I go too far. But, like, if a doctor, a medical doctor, came up to you tomorrow and was like, listen, I know what listen, it doesn't seem like you're sick right now, but I'm telling you, as a doctor, you have bonitis. Like...
oh, no. Bonitis? Me?
Your only regret is that you have bonitis. But like it's when they are the only person of authority that, and if you had no way to look it up and verify, or no way to like go down to the next town and get another doctor to tell you what's going on, you kind of just have to take them at their word. And even if you know, out of 10 people they see, half of them died, well, that's a 50% success rate. That's not so bad. Like half of them made it.
Yeah.
You at least have a 50% chance if you do what
when
says.
Most of your medicine is based off of what the other guy has done and told you usually works, which is based off of a whole bunch of just like herbalism where you're like, well, it usually works. As I can tell my poison mushrooms from my not poison mushrooms, I can tell my herbs apart. Usually these herbs help people.
Yeah. You just kind of gotta fucking roll those dice at a certain point.
Yeah.
And like, you gotta be like, well, yeah, of course they...
And... I mean, in today's day and age, it's different because you have access to so much more than you would at the time. At the time, you're talking about a traveling doctor who visited 3 or 4 little hamlets on a rotating basis, and it's like he finally comes back to town. The only person who knows what they're talking about, it's like, slightly. Oh my gosh, doctor, my son, he broke his foot. It's like, whew. Gotta chop that boy off.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, because, you know, realistically, half the time, probably what you had to do at certain points. Like, oh man, it took me 2 months to get here. Look at how green his foot is. That's gotta go.
Yeah, that foot gotta get that foot out of
Let's
here.
leech that boy.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you just kind of have to believe the person without verifying. And like, again, it's like the difference of like, It's the same fear of, oh, what if they're all lying to me, that spawns things like anti-vaxxers and flat earthers. But the fact of the matter is at the time, you didn't have the opportunity to doubt.
Who even knew if you were being lied to?
And if you were, would it matter? Because your chances are 0 if you don't do what he says.
Exactly.
Like, your chances drop drastically the moment you say, nah, fuck the doctor. Whereas now, well, your chances still drop drastically the moment you say fuck the doctor. But, like, now you can...
But now you can go to a second doctor and be like, this doctor told me this. Wild, am I right? And then the new doctor be like, no, you for sure have bonitis.
No, buddy, listen, you got megabonitis. Actually,
it's worse than he thought.
It is the most advanced case of bonitis I've ever seen. This isn't your average everyday bonitis.
I'm just trying to think of what bonitis would be.
I think it was a joke from something. I don't remember what it was. My only regret was that I had bonitis. I want to say Simpsons, but I don't.
I was going to say it's like Simpsons, Futurama, or Cyanide and Happiness.
I think it's Simpsons or Futurama.
It's like one of those things is triggering that thought real hard.
I think it was. I watched all.
It sounds like a Bart Simpson thing to say.
It sounds like a Simpson thing. But it could be Futurama.
You never know.
How could we possibly find out? Who could know? Who among us?
No way at all. I just pulled my phone out, but I promise you it's not to find out where bonitis came from.
No bonitis here. We're all out. Yeah, I mean... So yeah, that was cool, and then we went down to a new cheesesteak place.
We did go to a new cheesecake.
It was called
cheesecake. Good lord.
Yeah, cheesecake. No, cheesesteak place. What was the name of it? Angelo's? I think it was Angelo's in South Philly.
Yes.
Angelo's. So Angelo's, which is actually a pizza place.
Oh, bonitis is real?
Is it really? Have you been making a joke this whole time?
Oh no.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's from the Futurama wiki. Thank the Lord. It like popped up and I'm like, holy shit, bonitis is a severe bone disease that is fatal if uncured or untreated. And I'm like, oh no. But then if I had read just another line, it was barely noticeable, but the bones of the affected person will eventually suddenly twist and break. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's Futurama.
Okay. So we got good thing you got that figured out.
I feel like an idiot. I was so scared for a minute.
You were like, oh man, we've been so offensive this whole episode making fun of bonitis. What was I saying? Angelo, South Philly.
Yeah.
Cheesesteaks.
So, I mean, obviously, we were going to compare it to Jim's, which is...
In my opinion.
Your opinion, the best cheesesteak place in Philly.
Correct.
I would tend to agree because I have
that many other places.
Had Jim's, Wawa, and Angelo's.
Yeah, you haven't gone down to Pat's and Gino's, which are...
drastically overrated from what I hear.
Notoriously tourist traps.
And super racist. Brian was telling me. Yeah, they had a sign in the window. He can't remember if it was Pat's or Gino's, but there was a sign before the whole like Trump thing and everything kicked off even. It was a big sign that says, "We only speak English here," and like comments like that, and it's just like,
yikes.
Yeah.
Big yikes.
So yeah, don't go to Pat's and Gino's. I don't know which one's racist, but they're both tourist traps anyway.
They're both the same person, as far as I can remember.
Yeah, that's what I thought I remembered. Like the rivalry between the two of them was like literally just a marketing thing, which genius.
Oh, great job. Brilliant move, but outstanding move. But yeah, so Jim's is like my go-to on South Street. So where I'm at on these, so rather than getting a regular cheesesteak, I got a pizza steak.
I got a cheesesteak on garlic bread.
Cheesesteak on garlic bread, which is good. Which, from what I heard, the garlic bread was really good. Specifically,
it was very nice. It gave you that garlic punch in the nose that I didn't know I wanted in a cheesesteak, but a little bit more than I wanted in my cheesesteak.
Okay, so maybe a little bit less.
It's one of those things where your average cheesesteak, the meat is not super seasoned. You get a little bit of salt, you get a little bit of pepper, but it's mostly just meat. And most of your seasoning comes from your pepper, onions, and whiz, or whatever cheese you happen to pick. I'm a whiz man myself.
Yeah, you gonna stand by that one? Is that your plan?
Yep, I'm gonna stand by that one.
All right. I, on the other hand, do not like whiz in my mouth at any point.
Why do you have to say it that way?
I asked if you wanted to stand by it, and you said yes.
Yeah, not that way.
No one likes whiz in his mouth. We're all here. We all know it. Now, listen.
So anyway, we're gonna give our definitive opinion on Anthony's versus Jim's specifically.
Yeah, it was good. It was all right.
The bread
was
really great.
So their bread
is really where they shine. Anthony.
Antonio?
And I think
Give us an A. No, I was looking it up. I'm
gonna look it up.
I know where it is. It's at the corner of 9th and Fitzwater.
Angelo's.
Angelo's. That's
Angelo's Pizzeria.
I thought we said Angelo's originally, and then you started saying Anthony.
What?
You started saying Anthony, yeah.
Oh no, I'm the dumb.
And I'm like, Anthony.
My bad.
What?
My bad.
So Angelo's bread is all made in house. Like literally, you watch that was what held up our sandwiches for the longest time was because they were actively making more bread.
Yes.
And that place was slammed.
It was slammed.
Like,
but you know what? We got our sandwiches. Dave unfortunately did not get his sandwich in 20 minutes.
40 minutes.
But I got my sandwich in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It was done by the time
Edge got her sandwich in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Sam got it really quickly as well.
Good times.
Good times. Steak kind of wasn't as good in my opinion.
Yeah, see that's what Michelle was saying too. She really didn't like the steak.
She was not impressed. I think she would like it more if it was warm. She didn't get it warm fresh. She got it like when we got home with it. I think that's part of it. Personally,
cheesesteaks don't last too good.
No,
it's not going to stop me from getting one on the way home and then eating it when I get home.
No, bread gets soggy. Things like it just isn't food that's made to last. Because
it's street food.
It's street food, yeah. It's fancy street food, but it's street food nonetheless.
Yeah. Street food that got a building.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when they sell walking tacos at gas stations. Like, what are you doing?
Why are you doing this? So yeah, I thought the bread was incredible. Their mozzarella, whatever cheese they, I'm assuming it was whatever mozzarella they used on their pizza steak was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Huge fan of that. The bread was phenomenal. Like the bread was just. Yeah,
I love sesame seeds, so the fact that it was like seeded up made me happy.
Yeah, it almost had like and I kept catching like bites of. Not really, I guess almost a sweetness in the bread, like in like certain bites, and I don't know if that was just. I
think it's just that fresh bread thing.
I think it's the fresh bread thing, and it was just literally like. It
was just very good bread.
Like it was done minutes before I got my sandwich, so very good. I think that if I were gonna do it, so the big thing it didn't have, and the big thing that Jim's does have, is seating.
Seating is important to me. Jim's has the entire upstairs that you can sit and eat your freaking steak at. And you kind of get that nice
view over South Street.
Yeah.
Whereas Angelo's really only had like a couple of chairs outside the building.
I was going to say, Angelo's had 8 square feet inside for customers to stand. There was technically a little bar that you could eat at inside.
Nobody had room for that.
But that was where you stood and waited for your sandwich to come.
Mm-hmm. So that's that. I think that if I were going to like first time in Philly, you come in and eat a cheesesteak, I would still probably go to Jim's, just on the like cultural different. If that makes sense. Like it also felt more cultured, if that makes sense. Jim's does.
This place, it felt like your corner pizzeria that happened to have cheesesteaks.
That happened to have really fucking good cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
And to be clear, it was all real good.
Yeah.
It was, boy.
I was very happy with it still. I would eat there again. Very happily so.
Right now.
However, if I'm going to have to choose between the two, it's going to go to Jim's only because of the seating.
That's fair.
Because Jim's better steaks and Angelo's better bread, it gets tight.
I think it's fair. And I didn't have like what I would normally get, which is, lettuce, tomato, caramelized onions, and mushrooms on mine, which is like my go-to for provolone for my cheesesteak. Yeah. Because I'm a garbage monster who doesn't like whiz in his mouth. You gotta leave all this in. Yeah. No, I can see Noah like trying to figure out if he can edit this out, and he can't. He knows he can't.
I know I can't edit it out. I wasn't thinking that. I'm just like, why do you have to keep talking sometimes?
On this podcast that we do together.
Absurd.
And I've done together for the better part of a year and a half now. But yeah, no, so for next time, we get a group of people into the city, we'll go, oh man, you know what I missed this week and I really wish we had time to do? PAX Unplugged.
Yeah, so I didn't even know what PAX Unplugged was, if we're being honest.
Do you know now, or do you need
I do know now, because I saw a big billboard, PAX Unplugged, and I'm like, all right, I thought PAX Unplugged was like some weird meme that we were doing playing Jackbox. What is PAX Unplugged? And I found out it's board games PAX.
It's tabletop gaming PAX,
which, like, that sounds good.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, and the only reason I didn't go was because we had Gritmas, and there was no way I was going to be able to get out of the house like for half the day Saturday and still get people back in the house.
Yeah.
In time. Like I just couldn't.
No, it's too much stress.
Too much to do, too much stress. That said, I think next year I'm going to try and arrange Gritmas in such a way that we can do PAX Unplugged either right before or right after. Even if we do Gritmas on like
a Sunday instead.
Even then, the problem is that people have to take off that Monday.
Gritmas on a Friday, maybe.
Gritmas on a Friday, I could probably fuck with, because what that does mean is that if people work in the evenings, they gotta come right out. But like if you do Gritmas on a Friday, invite people to hang out all day Saturday, but like
At PAX.
well, that's the thing. Well, we go out to PAX and then come back to the house kind of thing.
Mhm.
I think maybe next time we're gonna do something like that. Yeah, good times for all. So much good. Oh my god, Emma out here with her fucking
That potato soup?
potato soup was.
I got to try some. It was cold. It was kind of solid.
Even cold,
but it tasted so good.
I'm getting that recipe from her. I'm so serious.
And I'm gonna be honest. The fact that it like solidified like that made me think, yeah, this is good potato soup, because that means I've had some weird. I've had some watery potato soups.
Watery soup is garbage.
And I don't know.
No.
Like I don't know where you'd get a watery potato soup. Let's be honest here.
How? Like how?
You can't. Watery potato soup is just gross. It's boiling your potato. It's just your potato water and soup. This potato soup, very nice.
So I hate sour cream. I hate sour cream.
I don't understand that, but continue.
I can't stand the smell of it. It makes me gag. I can't stand the taste of it. It makes me want to throw up.
I don't
like sour cream.
I'm blown away.
Said, this potato soup had sour cream in it. I knew the sour cream was there. I could taste it just slightly. Still had like 3 bowls of it. It was phenomenal.
Very good times.
Brian made really good mac and cheese. I don't know if you got any of that.
I did not.
The turkey that Sam threw together was great.
Yes.
It was just a lot of really good food. I have so much food left, and that's like,
you don't have to buy food for like a week.
Well, no, I do, because it's all like booze and chips.
Okay, yeah, fair. Yeah, you gotta buy food.
I gotta buy food. I think I'm having steak tomorrow, so that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, no, good times. Just a good weekend. A really good weekend.
A really good weekend.
I hope it was worth it for you to drive the
14-hour round trip in 2 days?
Yeah.
I think so. It's more worth it than it was for me to
You want to tell this story? Have we told this story
Okay, we've never told this story. Way back when Dan and I were first friends. We've been friends. I was gonna say we had been friends for probably about 3 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
4 years tops.
4 years max.
Because we were friends before you went to college, but not much
Yeah.
before. Dan was coming back home for Christmas, and I volunteered to drive him. And I don't remember why.
I feel like there was a reason. I feel like it was like we were going to go see a movie or something, and I was going to be there for you. You were going to come down to the city and spend a day or two, and then do stuff in the city, and then go back. Something. There was
an original plan.
There was a reason.
And that plan fell through real quick.
Yeah.
But for some reason, me going and getting you remained the plan.
Yeah, and I don't know how it happened. I think it just neither of us were like very clear on what was going on. But the basics was
So I got out of work. It was a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I got out of work at 11 o'clock. Yeah. I tried to get out early. No one let me leave early. Mm-hmm. I leave work after having worked from 2 until 11.
11 p.m.
And I drive to Philly. Mm-hmm. I drive all night from 11 p.m. until 7:20 in the morning-ish.
Something like that.
It was a long drive because the roads were so foggy. It was so foggy I couldn't see anything. Yep. I stopped at a rest stop, and there was a couple there, and they were talking about like the weather. And I'm like, yeah, I'm driving from Erie to Philly right now. And they're like, yeah, we're driving from Edinburgh to wherever they were going. I'm like, it's bad out there. And I'm like, dang, I wish you guys luck. This sucks. And I continued on, you know. I get to Dan's apartment. I fall asleep on his couch for 30 minutes.
I think it was closer to an hour. I tried very hard to let you sleep for a little bit, but it was not long. It was nowhere near
We
long.
left before 8 a.m.
I thought it was more than a half an hour. Point is, we did leave.
Regardless, I got there. I collapsed on his couch. I got up and I'm like, all right, let's go.
And I can't remember why we had to get back so quickly either.
I had D&D that night.
That's what it was. Because I came with you, didn't I?
You did come with me.
I remember that. That was a good time. Did you even play D&D that night? Didn't you do something else, I thought?
No, we played D&D that night. You hung out and worked on a different RPG you were going to be playing.
That's what it was. I do remember. That was a good time.
It was a good time. I had a blast with that. They were a fun crew.
Well, Some of them no longer are fun crew.
No, that whole crew's a fun crew.
Really? I thought some people were there.
No.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, no, I never really knew any of them.
Yeah, no. I think you knew Kyle, and that he was pretty much the only one you ever ended up actually getting to know. Mm-hmm. But it was a really good time. But for whatever reason, yeah, we thought it was a cool idea for me to like go pick up Dan, turn around, and come back. And that happened.
Yeah.
So I would call this trip way more worth it than that trip.
Actual sleep. You slept on a real bed. Well,
I slept on a pull-out couch.
Okay, but
It was a comfy enough pull-out couch.
It's a good pull-out couch, but yeah, no.
And everyone made fun of me for snoring because, God forbid, I snore.
You snore like a train.
I don't snore as bad as some people.
You snore worse than most, my dude. I've been around you enough. I know you snore.
Yeah, I know. I snore a lot.
It's okay.
But
I snore too.
I don't
I'm not
care
mad about it. You're fine. You're allowed to snore. In this year of our Lord 2019, almost 2020, you are allowed to snore.
Thanks.
Cool. Glad. Listen, I'm just glad that I could help your soul for this.
But yeah, long story
Not
short,
that again.
Gritmas, very worth. 10 out of 10 would come again next year.
I'm going to try and do it again next year. I can't promise it because I think I'm going to be living further away from Philadelphia than I am right now.
Which might make it difficult for your Philadelphia friends to make it up.
Because they're all a bunch of garbage monsters. But ideally, maybe if we're really...
Calling y'all out.
Listen, if any of them had a car that listened to the podcast, I wouldn't feel so bad about calling them out. But they don't.
Fair.
They don't, except for Dave, and I don't think he drives. My point is... I'd love to do it again next year. I don't know how realistic it is. It probably won't be as big next year. This was the biggest one. We had, like I said, we had like 14, 15, 16 people in this house.
I was surprised at how many of them I knew. I was very happy about that.
Yeah, I think there was only one or two. There were one or two.
There were more than that.
Okay, 3 or 4 that you've never met.
Yeah.
No, only like 2 or 3 that you've never met.
Yeah, okay, there were 3 that I'd never met. Actually, never mind. That's great numbers.
Yeah, that's real good
I knew everyone except 3 people.
Yeah.
Whether they knew me...
That's true.
I don't think, like, Iggy remembered me.
No.
I guarantee he didn't.
No.
But to be fair, Iggy and I met at an arcade bar.
And then got sloshed back to the house. Well, Iggy did. I think that time. Was that a different time that Iggy came back?
It was a different time.
Whoops. Iggy gets sloshed at my place a lot. That's just what happens. That's who Iggy is.
But yeah, it was a good time.
Good time.
We'll do again. Had a lot of fun.
We'll do again someday. What I'd like to do is I'd like to do something that's maybe not Christmas, but something during the summer and have like a big get together. Because like,
would you perhaps be meaning the furnace party?
Oh, you know what? I hadn't thought about it, but we could.
Furnace party 2.
Well,
Electric Boogaloo.
Furnace party micro edition.
Yeah, I don't want to organize a full blown furnace party.
We could literally start putting. Literally, all we would have to do is put out another batch of flyers. That's all we would have to do, and it would work. You know that, right? Like all we would have to do is put out those flyers.
Insane. You know what? That's a plan for next year, though.
That's next year. That's
for now.
For now,
we are wrapping up.
Aww.
I gotta drive home. I'm not getting home until after 11 at this point, and
You'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
It's staying at your place tonight?
No.
Oh wow, you're going all the way up and then coming back down.
I most certainly am not adding an hour and a half to my drive. My parents can meet her at my house and pick her up.
That's fair.
If that doesn't happen, there will be an edit in this with me saying, wow, I'm peeved. I had to drive all the way to Harbor Creek and back, making me not get home until 12:30, 1 a.m.
Well, yeah. Okay, so let's wrap up. Jackson, we didn't even talk about Jackson this whole time. We didn't even mention that
Jackson was supposed to come to this, and his work screwed him over, and he ended up getting stuck with that.
Poor buddy. I think he would have had a good time, actually.
I think he would have. I had a great time. I think he would have had fun.
Even though he.
I guess that's 4. I didn't know Sammy. I interacted with her. She's cool.
She's very cool. I mean, no, she's a nerd. Dorcas.
But anyway, so that sucks. Sorry, Jackson, Jackson couldn't be here. As such, our Patreon shoutouts will delay until next week.
Yes, because
one of them is directed at Jackson, which is going to be great.
One of them is a call out post.
Call out post. And until then, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitch as Bubbadabad, BUBBADABAD.
Yeah, and that's really.
You can find Jackson at Turning Point USA on Tumblr. You can find him as Jacksonium with 2 M's on Twitter, Jacksonium with 1 M on Twitch. He's not streaming, but he might pop back to finish the Pokemon game.
I think he was actually, from what I heard, he was having a good time with it.
He was, but I don't think he's going to continue.
I think it's a lot of work. I think he feels like it's a lot of work because he feels a real big need to perform.
To be fair, he also goes for like 5-6 hours at a stretch.
Which is insane.
And he performs the whole time. He's great at it.
Which is insane.
Amazing. But where can we find you?
On the internet.
As Born to Rule on Twitch and Born to Rule 57 on Twitter and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
No Tumblr, because you're a professional.
No, just because if I use Tumblr, it would be for porn.
And there's no porn on Tumblr anymore.
Not with that attitude, there's not.
It's much harder to get away with porn on Tumblr.
That doesn't make it impossible.
It hasn't stopped the porn bots from following me. I'll be honest about that.
No, why do you think the porn bots are following you? You know how many porn bots follow me on Tumblr?
Probably none because you don't have an account, right?
It's none. It's zero bots. What are you doing wrong?
Well, I'm retweeting, jeez, reblogging Dragon Age stuff.
That'll do it.
Apparently so.
Are we done?
Facebook.com/OTA podcast, Twitter.com/off the air, and Patreon.com/off the air.
Tune in next time to hear Noah say.
That's all, folks.